So this is Ethan Strauss. The game isn't just what you do, it's what you do after what you're doing gets defined by people who hate it.
Are you receiving me? Are you undeceiving me?
The basic theory is that people are more unhinged when addressing their criticisms, not their compliments.
If you
Of course.
answer the criticism, like intellectually, you're fundamentally playing into a gambit. So you try not answering the criticism, and then it becomes, why won't he answer his critics? And then you're saying, well, are you applying this criticism uniformly? Are you... It's an absolutely diabolical situation.
Because they're going to criticize you no matter what your reaction is in bad faith. You engage, they criticize.
What is the motivation?
You don't, they accuse you of running. That's how that goes.
But what is the response of the criticized is much more interesting to me.
Why?
What are the options? I'm actually just interested. What do you see as the options that are possible? Because this is a problem that I can't solve.
I understand.
I hope I'm not misunderstanding what Chris is reading here. I know that this theory about criticism capture is not his, but he's more or less endorsing, or he at least finds it interesting, but he also appears to be, I don't know, turned on, inspired by it, like it's resonating with him maybe. Okay. And it's not that there's nothing to it, but and Chris is a good host here. Okay. Like Chris Williamson, 2.9 million. Okay. It's not nothing. And I like Eric a lot. And they have good discussions. But I do get the sense sometimes that I've seen Chris interview other people, but I get the sense sometimes he's striving for this middle, I'm going to call it a middle ground. He probably would. I don't mean mediocrity. I think you end up getting mediocrity when you arrive at this place. But I think that he's aspiring for some sort of neutral zone where, or one might be commended for behaving precisely as one ought behave. Now, it's good that we aim to, or we try to do the right thing in a given situation. You try to handle, it's like, okay, this person said that the first 3 times they said it, I didn't say anything. There are things, the problem with this theory, there's several problems, but the problem is that one, it doesn't, like, it's talking about, when the attacked counterattack, I've talked about this 100 times, that, the counterattack ends up making them, the counterattacker, appear as having lowered themselves to an equal, I guess, footing position with their trolls. That's really not, that's a really hollow appraisal of that dynamic, because the public figure, no matter who you are, the amount of, let's say, unjustified and careless, reckless criticism that they get, for every one that they and Chris would know this. I mean, he's got this this massive following. I'm sure he gets it. Like, for every one that I imagine he responds to, or that, I mean, I can speak from experience, like when I was when I was on there, for every one that I actually responded to with, let's say, equal or approximate amount of force as was imposed upon me, there's like 50 that I didn't, or 100, or whatever it is. But you're going to ignore that, and you're going to treat this counterattack, this response, as a one-to-one enterprise. It's not. Whereas this troll who has launched into an assault, they haven't been attacked by this person. This person doesn't even know them.
I understand. I think there's a great point that Ethan makes where he says that the unraveling usually starts as a rebuttal to some criticism, not the embrace of some inspired followers.
Say more about that.
The impact of criticism isn't the impact. Yes, people fear the professional, social, and financial consequences of reputation harm, but often in media, that's not what kills you. Instead, it's your own unforced errors in response to the criticism.
It's very interesting.
Some people change their messaging to avoid the blowback, like a wide receiver shying from necessary contact over the middle. Some disagreeable personalities get their backs up and overcorrect. Their content starts to match the fevered pitch of their most aggressive detractors. They almost mirror the derangement regarding criticism itself as a positive indicator. So I think we've all seen over the last 5 years, people lean into almost being a meme of a meme, being a caricature of themselves. And I know that you had I think you were disheartened.
So to say that for this theory here, to say like, oh, well, it ends up making you look bad. It's like, yeah, it does to the idiots out there who don't know how to make sense of this stuff, who don't take the relevant, let's say, context or dynamics of the situation into consideration. If somebody, if there's a troll who's coming after you just saying, oh, F you, F you, F you, 100 times, and then on the time number 101, whether it's one person doing it or it's a bunch of different people, if one time, or two or three, the attacked fire back with, yeah, F you, and then we say, oh, well, see, now you're doing the same thing as him. It's like, no. I get this 100 times a day. I'm sick of it. Okay, and these people frankly deserve it. What are you supposed to do? Like that's the difference right there. To say like, oh, well, your behavior is the same as your trolls. How? I feel like something that's been lost in, I don't know, the last 5 or 10 years is the essential, probably the essential piece of any conflict or any evaluation of a conflict, which is this question: who started it? Guess what? That matters. That matters. And to not take that into account and to say somebody looks bad because they responded in kind to one of their trolls, well, guess what? Ugliness breeds ugliness. What is this person saying? I think his name is Strauss. Like Eric was saying there, like, well, what are the options? You can not respond and just let these people go, and let it fester, right? Because, some people don't even know what the hell they think or what influences them. But, when a troll says X, and X is not true of Chris, well, even if 1 or 2 or 3 other people see that comment, it's not that they're necessarily going to believe it, but my guess is it gets integrated into their thinking. And if Chris then later on, let's say, says something that reminds one of these witnesses of X, somebody who saw the troll's tweet, I guess, well, all of a sudden, like, the gap between X and Chris is going to start to shrink, even though X is not relevant in the conversation about Chris. But that got implanted in them. I know this because, look, it happens to me, and every time I have that response where something that I know is false and I know gets kind of like branded in my memory because I saw somebody, and then I see, the person in question behaving kind of like they're flirting with that. It's like, no. The only reason why my radar's perking up is because somebody contaminated it. So in order to prevent that type of thing from taking shape and gaining any traction, well, what is the person supposed to do? Just, again, like, seed the game, just lay off and let it gain momentum? No, you shut it down. Because believe me, if your thinking is that, oh, well, yeah, this person who's coming after me, they're just an idiot and everybody knows it. No, they don't. No, they don't. I'm not sure if this is what he's referring to, but there was some quote in there where he said, when we respond, we try to come off like we're above the fray. That part of it may be true, at least to the extent that we strive for something better than to just troll somebody back. Fine. But if you're, let's say, across the board method for dealing with these vermin, okay, is to just assume that your peers or the world or your audience or whoever, whoever is observing you, and they are, I mean, somebody is, your family, your friends, whoever. If your assumption is that they will all know to dismiss the troll's commentary because they'll just know what that you know, or they'll know what you know, and they'll deal with it the same way, you are sorely mistaken.
By the way, what was with that guy that just came up here and introduced himself to both of you and then completely ignored me?
He doesn't know who you are? I don't know.
That might be it. Nothing to worry
What do you
about.
mean he doesn't know who I am?
Nothing to be offended at.
Why, sure it is.
I don't think that's going to help, Graz. I believe he's offended.
I'm completely offended. I couldn't be more offended.
Well, he knows us from way
Hi,
back.
from way back. I've been on the show for 5 years. Oh, I'm so-and-so. I work at NBC in Oregon. Nice to meet you, Bob. Nice to meet you, Graz. Doesn't even look at me and walks the other way.
I don't think he knew me and Bob necessarily from the show, though.
Where do you know you from?
He knew me from being in town, probably being at the other station for years. And Bob, too. That was my sense.
You've been on the show
He
5 years?
Yeah, I've been on since 2015. That kid would have been in, like, junior high at that time.
Go ask him. I'm sure he's still here. Says the guy who wants to walk away from somebody who's screaming insults at him, a guy who comes up pleasant, you've got big irritation with.
What do you mean?
When we were talking about the video.
Well, I'm not going to challenge this guy to a fight. I'm just saying, isn't that kind of rude? There's 3 people sitting here. He introduces himself to 2 of them and then walks away. Thanks.
I didn't even give it a thought, to be honest.
Well, because you weren't the one that got ignored.
That's right.
If it was you would have beat the hell out of him, I'm sure.
I'm not saying that they'll necessarily go the opposite way, but there's a good chance that they will. Because, like this theory says, they will be watching for your reaction. Right? Something novel, something sensational is said about you. It's like, oh, I don't hear that said about T here every day. I wonder, like, is that true? People's ears perk up when they hear things that turn out to be, but they don't know that it is in the moment. But it sounds crazy, right? It's scarlet letters, people, and if you don't fight back, I don't think that there's anything wrong with like Eric's saying, we got to fight. And believe me, like he's saying, God, I would have killed on more than one occasion to have some sort of responsible, let's say, wise arbiter, judge, referee present for any number of debates I've had, whether be it in private, on the air, on social media.
And I think that this is actually the big problem. We don't have debates. We have street fights. We have people pulling a knife in a boxing match, or, plaster, and bandages in their boxing gloves, or whatever is going on. We need fights. We need critics. We need debates that are refereed, that are ethical, where people shake hands at the beginning and hug at the end. Touch gloves, We don't have that.
When there's no, let's say, official, I guess, to establish the boundaries for what's valid as criticism, or in a debate, I guess you could say. Kind of like what they aspired towards in a presidential debate, even though it always gets out of hand. They don't really run that like it should be, but it would be nice if people are criticizing you or me, let's say, if I get 20 tweets in a day of everybody saying, oh, you're just this because this, like they try to play that game. Like you say X and they say, yeah, but you just think X because of, B. It's like, well, okay, B is, I don't even know what you're talking about. You're attaching that to me, and B is an insult. I'll play this other part where Eric talks about how he doesn't know of his critics. I know precisely what he means by that.
I am not aware of my critics. I have trolls. I have stalkers. I have people I fear physically and I think about legally and I think about protection from them. But I'm not aware of a single critic of my theories. If you ask anybody who jumps up and says, "Oh, I'm a critic of Eric's theories," I would say, ask that person, has that person tried to hunt down your previous connections and written to your friends and tried to dig up dirt? And if they answer honestly, because I actually have the letters and emails that these people engage in, these people are character assassins posing as critics.
I can honestly say, I mean, 10 or so years of being on the air, okay, I took a lot of chances with things I said on the air. I don't mean in terms of being offensive. I mean, I guess I ended up kind of accomplishing that, even though that wasn't my goal at times. But the criticism that I would get, oh, God, I feel like 0% of the time. It's probably more than that, but zero. It felt like zero. Almost none of it addressed what I had actually said or something that, or reflected something that was that you could actually associate with me. Oh, he's just saying that because of this. It's like Wassel, you know, my real last name is Wassel. Well, Wassel just thinks this. It's like, you know, I said something, I don't know what it is, it pissed you off, and you responded to me not by countering what I said to try to falsify it to the extent that it should be, right? And in fact, by the way, the fact that you didn't bother to do that kind of convinces me that I'm more right and that I should keep saying what I'm saying. But you just decided to come sneak in the back door and whack me over the back of the head with a frying pan. Like that's not a debate.
All right, let's go back to the phones here. Fred is in Birch Bay. Fred, what's going on?
Hey, fellas, how you doing? Stace, what's up?
Hey.
What's up, Fred?
Hey, listen, Tom, I got to drill you, man. When I listen to you, Tom,
yeah,
it's like never good enough. Dude, come on.
Fred, I just said that feeling good isn't important about the win. I'm fine with the win. What's complicated about that?
It's not enough running. It's not enough defense. It's not enough this. It's not enough.
What are you talking about, Fred?
Come on, man.
Fred, I'm defending this team. I'm defending.
You would feel better about this if they were behind 20-0 and we won 27-20. Come on.
I would feel better. I'm not sure.
He's
Fred,
saying if Seattle was trailing.
No, I wouldn't. I'm defending this team. I'm saying that this was never in doubt.
You know what's actually surprising about it?
I can't be any clearer about it.
Is I think I'm the most pessimistic of the three of us today, based on our pre-show conversation.
Fred coming in with some heat.
You know what?
With me.
Maybe I just need to be clearer in what I say. I don't care if the win doesn't look good. I'm fine with it.
Fred's got a good voice.
Okay, for all of you who are going to take offense at any little bit of criticism of this team, sorry, can't help you. All right, we got full phone lines, so we have to keep going around the corner here with this. I like the Seahawks. I am fine with the win. Okay? I love the Seahawks, in fact. We're back in a second. 710 ESPN Seattle.
I can't think of one time anybody ever criticized me with a valid criticism pursuant to what I had said. Eric was saying that he says maybe he did there. Like he has all these letters of these stalkers and people who have like tried to back channel him. You know, people were writing letters to family members and friends to try to like, you know, undermine him or whatever. And he says he has them collected. Believe me, I have a whole archive of that shit. Like it's always either a troll job. That's the bad faith. It's either bad faith or it's outright stupidity, which is when somebody just doesn't. They're only capable of let's say a superficial understanding. And since you offered them something that goes 3 or 4 layers deep, they don't know how to make sense of that. So they just grab like one aspect of it, and they blow that up into something else, and then they they put your name on it. Said Tom said this, and you're like, what? Like, well, yeah. I mean, if you isolate that out alone and blow it up as if I just did a whole segment on that thing there and characterized it or the way you're mischaracterizing it, it's like, yeah, I guess I would think I would criticize me too, but that's not what happened. Either way, you didn't criticize me for what I said, so I'm still waiting for that. The problem is not just the trolls. If a crime or an action, something undue, is perpetrated upon you, say you're assaulted, right? You're walking down the street, you're walking with your sister, your grandmother, whatever, and somebody comes up and punches them in the stomach and tries to grab their purse and run off. Well,
Get up!
if I, see this and then I trip the assailant and they fall head first or face first onto the cement, break their nose, there's blood everywhere, and they're unconscious, maybe dead, the person that then comes after me for doing that,
it was quite clear that, I don't know, minute 2, minute 3, minute 4, that this person is not going to end up killing that person. I would imagine that if this guy attempted to assault her anymore, Neely could have pushed him away, or they could have held them down. But a chokehold is a lethal thing, and he held it for minutes.
Do you think that you would wait until the woman was beat before you would intervene?
Probably not.
But how would you know then if the guy is like a threat unless he's actively committing harm?
Well, I mean, if he's like actively committing harm, I would assume, I'm not familiar with that story, but I would assume that it would start out where the guy is physically assaulting her, holding her down or whatnot. And I think at that point I would go and intervene. But I think the problem in this instance, and again, the guy's been charged. That's basically where my interest, I move on to other things. But in an instance where you're putting someone in a chokehold, which again, he's trained. He's a
Marine, right?
Yeah, he must know this is a lethal thing. You're putting someone in a chokehold for 5 or 6 minutes. I think that's a problem.
all right, well, if a guy jumps in and puts this dude in a chokehold and this guy dies or goes to the hospital or something like that, to see the number of people who jump in as if they, by the way, would have the balls to do what he did, and who, if they were on that subway, would be terrified of this guy and would be grateful to the person doing it, to saving them. For them to jump in from afar and be and say, "Oh, well, yeah, but he didn't have to do that." I mean, sorry, we can't fight fire with fire. Violence against violence doesn't solve the problem of violence. Well, yeah, sometimes it does. Sometimes it does. And it's ugly. If you want to tell me that my counterattack was over the line, okay, Well, I will accept that as a criticism if you do a comprehensive job in evaluating where the line was set, where it should have been, and give me a complete, let's say, listing inventory of everything that established that line that I am apparently over. Because if you're just going to like parachute in and see two people pushing and shoving and say, "Oh no, the guy who threw a punch, he's wrong," dude, you're in the way. Get out, shoe fly. You're not. I mean, I'm not trying to take away anybody's right to speak. Anybody can speak, but you know what? It would be a good idea if once in a while people ask themselves, should I speak? If I do, what should I say? What is a good or bad idea to say here? Not with let's say public perception in mind, but just as a decent human being. What sorts of guardrails should I put up for myself? Forget about what I can do. Is it that they know that the only way to like get on the level is to use all these cheap-ass rhetorical tricks that anybody could see through, but that their peers at the bottom, at the bottom of the barrel, will pretend right along with them to believe? Like, I love the questions that start with, "Oh, so you're saying that," like the Kathy Newman thing with Jordan Peterson. Remember that?
Saying that's the way it is.
Well, I'm not saying anything. It's just an observation that that's the way it is. And
So
that
you're
you can
saying
rely on.
women have some sort of duty to sort of help fix the crisis of masculinity?
It depends on what they want.
So
So if you want
women
domination,
want to dominate, is that what you're saying?
no, I'd say women who have had their relationships impaired, their relationships with men impaired, and who are afraid of such relationships will settle for a weak partner because they can dominate them.
You're saying you've done your research and women are unhappy dominating men.
I didn't say they were unhappy dominating men. I said it was a bad long-term solution.
But you're saying basically it doesn't matter if women aren't getting to the top because that's what's skewing that gender pay gap, isn't it? You're saying, well, that's just a fact of
No,
life.
it's saying
Women
it
aren't
doesn't
necessarily
matter.
going to get to the top.
No, I'm not saying it doesn't matter either.
You're saying
I'm
it's a
saying
fact
there are
of life.
multiple reasons for it.
So you were saying that by and large, women are too agreeable to get the pay rises they deserve.
No, I'm saying that that's one component of a multivariate equation that predicts salary.
I mean, the pay gap between men and women exists, but you're saying it's not because of gender, it's because women are too agreeable to ask for pay rises. So
It's one of the reasons.
Okay, one of the reasons. And you're
These
saying
things
if
you
it's at
can't-
the
you
cost
can't-
of men, that's a problem.
Oh, there's all sorts of things that it could be at the cost of. It could even be at the cost of women's own interests.
But you're saying that makes them unhappy, by and large.
I'm saying that no, I'm not saying that. And I actually haven't said that so far.
You're
in the
saying
program.
it makes them miserable.
No, I
at the
said that
beginning.
what was making them miserable was having weak partners.
So you're saying women are just more sensible. They don't want that because it's not a nice life.
I'm saying that's part of it, definitely.
Right, so you're saying that anyone who believes in equality, whether you call them feminists, call them whatever you want to call them, should basically give up because it ain't going to happen.
Only if they're aiming at equality of outcome.
So you're saying give people equality of opportunity, that's fine.
It's not only fine, it's eminently desirable for everyone, for individuals and for society.
But still women aren't going to make it. That's what you're really
It
saying.
depends on your measurement techniques. They're doing just fine in medicine.
No matter what answer he gave, no matter what, it could have been the most harmless thing in the world. She would come back because she had a mission to just, destroy him, which she failed miserably. She destroyed herself. But she would come back at every turn with, "Oh, so you're saying that this bad thing that I can crucify you for," even though it was obvious to everybody, probably even like the people who would have supported Kathy Newman or whoever they were, even they would have known. But they unite not under the auspices of truth or reality or what is apparent, but what they need to be believed, what they need to force, what they need to be accepted to some end where they appear to be able to strut out of the room claiming the W when they know they have no business doing so.
Are you listening to me?